Hello, Modern Royalty Podcast Tribe. It's Princess Sarah Culberson, and today we have for you Princess Gina West from Nigeria. She's lived all over the world. She's the daughter of a UN diplomat.
I was a sprinter. I was a long jumper, just like Daddy, winning everything.
Growing up and living in England, traveling the world, becoming a lawyer, and then a renowned singer.
My baby don't care for clothes. You know the one. And everybody was like, woo! And I thought, oh God, they gave me a standing ovation. Oh my goodness, I can sing.
Performing for royalty all over the world. So stay tuned for this episode. You won't want to miss it.
Don't be frightened. Don't worry about what anybody else is thinking. Don't. Be true to yourself.
Well, Miss Amazing Gina, I'm so grateful to have you on Modern Royalty Podcast.
Thank you.
You know what I think is really crazy and amazing is how we met. And let's just first start there, that how you even got to this podcast and how we met.
This is hilarious. Of course, it was in the women's loo.
Oh my God, I forgot about that part. Yes, we were.
So there I was coming out of the store of the and you were in front of the mirror, and I sort of go past you to wash my hands, and you take a look at me and you go, oh, and you must be somebody. Or something like that.
I did. And I hope people who are watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening on Spotify or other platforms, you should go to YouTube as well, just to see how gorgeous this woman is. She walked out of the restroom and I'm like, look at this stunning queen. I was just like, who are you? You've got to be somebody doing something in the world. And I don't normally do that to people. Living in LA, you got to be careful when you do that to people. But I was like, who are you? You're gorgeous.
It was very sweet, and it was very genuine. And coming from another woman, it was welcome. And so I started chatting to you. I just sort of said, we just started chatting. Yeah. And you were like, I'm a princess. And I was like, oh, funny enough, so am I. No. You said I have a podcast called Modern Royalty about whatever. And I said, well, funny enough, I'm a princess. So you were like, really? And I was like, she goes, you went, so am I. And I was like, oh my goodness. And that was it. We started chatting.
I love that. Actually, we should probably put princess in front of your name.
Yeah.
Here on the title. We can always add that. But it is who you are, and it's your family. And speaking of that, can you share about your family lineage and that royalty that you are? Thank you. I got a pen coming in so I can make any notes.
It's quite simple. It's really from my mother's side of the family. So my mother's father, so my grandfather's grandfather, was someone called King Amakri III. And he was the ruler of, I'm a Kalabari princess, and the Kalabari kingdom was founded by the great Amakri I, circa 1770. I think I'm right. I'm going to check. Yes, exactly. And
1770. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just like living in America and thinking back that far. I mean, this is incredible. 1770.
This is not a recent thing. This is, the Amakri dynasty then is now headed by the Princewell family. And my mother is Princess Inema Princewell. So it's her family. So basically, yeah. So, and actually, funny enough, my grandfather's mother was a princess from both sides, from both her father and her mother.
Wow. So she's from royalty on both sides.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, your dad's a lucky man, huh?
Daddy. So my father is Dr. West, fabulous, and
a diplomat.
He's a diplomat, exactly, well remembered. So Daddy's a diplomat, so we traveled the world as children. So we never really lived in Nigeria, and so the whole sort of royalty thing was really just in the way we were brought up, what we were led to believe, and how we had to comport ourselves, just in terms of just things that kids do. There were certain things I just wouldn't dream of doing because,
Like what?
Oh gosh.
Just getting in trouble or?
Yes. I mean, I definitely got in trouble. I was that.
But well, if you're not getting in trouble, you're not really having fun sometimes.
I know. I was that girl for sure. But, at school, I was just very aware of our name. And funny enough, my mother's maiden name is Prince Will, but my father's name is West. But even as West, the children of Dr. West, Dr. and Mrs. West was a big deal. And we were brought up to sort of, carry ourselves knowing that we were leading by example in a way.
Yes, that's a responsibility. People don't always understand that pressure. No, and it doesn't have to be pressure. It's a responsibility. There's a dignity. There's so much that comes with it, but there's also a responsibility. You don't get to mess around and get in trouble and it not be on news or people look down on you. It's a different story.
I mean, of course, if we were living in Nigeria, it would be perhaps a slightly different story because we never lived in Nigeria. You're not a diplomat in your own country, right? So we moved around. We lived in Rome. We lived in Seattle, Washington. We lived in Ghana, of course. And so when we moved to Ghana, Daddy chose to settle there in a sense. And so actually when I go home, I go to Accra.
Yes.
Because that's where Mommy and Daddy still are.
Side note, we're thinking about going to Afro Future in Ghana this year.
Yeah.
I think you should come and bring your family. And it's on the beach this year. Side note, it's going to be amazing. And we're actually doing a live podcast from the beach.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So anyway.
Maybe I'll be doing something with my talk show. I don't know.
Wait a second. You should actually be performing there.
Uh-huh. Done.
Okay. All right. We're going to make some connections after this Zoom call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or StreamYard. Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
I love the way it happens.
My gosh. Yeah. You should be performing there. So I also want to talk about, I love this as you lived in all these different countries. Your father's a diplomat. And what I do know in African families is there are expectations about the jobs that you can do.
Absolutely.
Yes. So you're a lawyer, you're supposed to be a lawyer, a doctor, a business person. What are the other options?
Engineer.
Usually. Engineer. So I can't wait for you to share with everyone what you do. But how did it start off with your education? What did you study?
Okay, so I come from, as you can tell, a very academic family. I was born in Aberdeen in Scotland, and Daddy and Mummy were in Scotland because Daddy was studying marine zoology. He's doing his PhD in marine zoology. Okay, it's a very academic family. Having said that, Daddy, a few years earlier, was in the Olympics. He was an athlete.
Oh my gosh, you told me this and I forgot that.
1964 Olympics. So I grew up knowing that it's possible to be more than one thing. It's not just academia. You can actually be more than one thing. And so growing up, I was also quite academic, maybe less so than my brothers, or rather, I was academic, but I didn't perhaps study as hard. I took it for granted. But I was always top of the class, blah, 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 just like my siblings. But I was also an athlete. I was a sprinter. I was a long jumper, just like Daddy, winning everything, etc. And then I was sent to boarding school when I was 11, going on 12. And I discovered that I didn't want to have the muscles and the body of an athlete.
You're like, I'm getting too muscular.
Yes.
I think I remember us talking about that because when I was a sprinter as well, there's this interesting connections.
Yeah.
I would go and lift weights, leg press 325 pounds. And the football players would come in and get embarrassed. They'd move the weights off.
Because you were so strong.
But you're so much taller than I am. So I feel like you would be long and elegant. I'm like 5'3.5". You're like, aren't you 5'9", 5'10"? You would look great. I look like a little tiny Oompa Loompa. No.
No,
sorry, I interrupted you, but go ahead. I understand the body thing.
No, but but you understand. So basically here I am young. I was about 13, 14 and I was like, okay, I really don't want to have these muscles. I don't want to look like, I don't know. I just don't want to look like that with all, the thick thighs and the blah, blah. So I got myself into the performing arts. So I was like, oh, I really enjoy singing in acting in particular. And of course, sod's law, I was in England, boarding school in England, Black girl, African girl in England.
How was that?
Exactly. I was never chosen for the lead role or for the to sing. And so I really, actually, honestly, Sarah, and I don't think I've really expressed this to anybody. I think I doubted myself, my ability to sing. Acting, I knew I could act. I was like, okay, I can act. But singing, I was like, And it wasn't until I got to university, when of course you're more your own person and you can, you do what you want. I joined the drama society and we were doing, I don't know, Grease Lightning or something, Grease. And I played the role of Rizzo and I was like, there are worse things I could do and all that. And everybody was like, woo! And I thought, oh my God, they gave me a standing ovation. Oh my goodness, I can sing. I'm telling you, that is when it clicked for me. That is when it clicked for me. Because up till then, all I did was just, a few sort of soliloquies and drama pieces when my parents would say, Gina, get up and perform at their parties, And now I was like, okay, I can sing. And then I started singing. You couldn't get me off the stage.
You were like,
I can sing.
Well, as you walked out of the loo, AKA we would say the bathroom.
Yeah.
When I met you, I could see, I'm going to be really honest, your star quality. I saw this woman if she's not on stage, she should be on stage. Yeah. So I love that you found that so young and that you got to see your light and got to share it with people.
Truly, serendipitous. And I feel privileged and I never take it for granted. Do you know, and I think I shared this with you, so fast forward to a couple of years after this high school experience, university experience where I'm singing, I meet in my final year of at university. And by the way, university, I was studying law. So you asked me about academia. Yeah, I was very academic. I was going to be a lawyer. I was going to, join the Hague and be the best, whatever. And anyway, things turned around. Why? I had the incredible fortune to meet at one of my parents' parties. I get up to sing. I'm singing My Baby Just Cares For Me by Nina Simone. Somebody calls me. And
how does that sound? Well, how does that sound? Can you just sing a little bit of that for us? Because your
baby don't care for show. My baby don't care for clothes. You know the one. My baby just cares for me. Oh man, Nina Simone. And I was singing this and I was doing, my thing. And I was, I was like 19 years old. Somebody summons me. Somebody wants to speak to you. This after at my parents' house. It was Nina Simone. She's sitting there like this. And I'm thinking,
you were at your parents' house and there is Nina Simone watching you.
Nina Simone because she used to visit Accra, Ghana. One of these, I don't know, a lot of you guys come to find your roots and,
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
But also at that time, Nina Simone being a singer, like understanding her identity, because a lot of singers that are African-American were not so accepted and really not treated well in America. So she's like, let me go to other countries and understand my roots.
She loved Ghana. And one of her friends was obviously a friend of my parents and brought her to the party because she was visiting. And so she was a guest of Joe. And so she was there. And when Uncle Joe comes and says, Gina, come, somebody wants to have a word with you. I get there and I have no idea who I'm going to be meeting. Good African girl. Yes. Hello, auntie. Hello, uncle. And I go there and I see her sitting there glaring at me. And she wasn't glaring at me per se. I now realize she was just perhaps a bit angry, just generally. And wow. She said, girl, you can sing. And I was like, ooh. Because I thought she was going to tell me off for singing her song because I didn't really know. And she says, but your talent is raw. I hear you're studying law. I said, yes. She says, give up the law and sing. You were born to sing, but get yourself some lessons. So I got back to England, got myself some lessons, did all the stuff that I needed to do. Et voila. A few years later, signed a major record deal with Arista BMG. My father, African parent, as you asked this before, typical African parent would say, Gina, come on, you're a lawyer. That's what you should study. Da-da. My dad said to me, Gina, as long as you finish what you started. So don't just give up. Become a barrister. So that's what I did. But then if you want to sing, you want to act, whatever you want to do, absolutely do it, but be the best that you can be. That's what he said to me.
What wonderful fatherly advice.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
I mean, but really, and he said it and he meant it.
So you got your law degree.
Yes.
And you...
Barrister, Lincoln's Inn. Yeah.
Lincoln's Inn. Yeah. And then you become this incredible singer. And I know when you were younger, you, like your father, you were a runner training for the Olympics. But later on in life, because your singing career, I have to have you share where you've sung, because your singing career actually took you to the Olympics, but not necessarily as a runner that you were training for,
yes,
but as a singer.
Aren't you clever? You're absolutely right. I've never really thought of it like that, but you're absolutely right. I was singing. I sang at a few opening and closing ceremonies in the 2002 Olympics in Salt Lake City, baby.
Oh my gosh.
The Winter Olympics. Yeah. Yes,
that's so beautiful. I love that. And not only there, but I'd love for you to share a bit about the other places you have been singing, because you sing all over the world. You travel. I mean, when I met you in London, you were getting ready to leave. You had just come back from China, I think. Shanghai, yes. So tell me, and that was a cool story too, about being in Shanghai and who you perform for. And then we got to talk about England, royal family.
You know what? I have been very fortunate, I have to say. So, I had this record deal. I released a #1 hit called Joy. It was a dance hit back in the day.
Wait, I need to hear. I'm sorry, you're a singer. Can I hear a little Joy? Because I don't know if I know this song.
It's old. And when I say
all right.
Old, yeah, it's like 1996.
Okay.
Yeah, like old. I was, yeah. Joy! Whoa, joy! It was a dance track. I mean, it was like really, woo!
I'm so bad. I just want to hear you sing so badly. So I'm just letting everybody get a little taste of this.
Those days. But back in those days, the song that I would always sing, when how people will always say to a singer, Gina, sing a song. Gina, sing a song. Which is funny enough is how I got my record deal. That's funny. Yes, that's true. I was at a pool party and they were like, Gina, sing. And my go-to was always, summertime and the living is easy. And I would always sing this song around and it was like the party trick, right?
Right. Porgy and Bess.
I know. And it's funny because even now, I'm sure I sang it at an event at St. James's Palace with the Queen, Queen of England, the late Queen, sorry. And
Queen Elizabeth, you sang for her.
Elizabeth. Oh, yes, a couple of times. Yeah.
And she and her husband, who else was there that we might know?
The second time I sang for her, the first time was a larger event, and I was actually dining as one of the guests. And then they brought the microphone to me and I stood up and sang. And it was this remarkable moment because nobody expected one of the guests to just get up.
So Gina West was the guest.
Yeah, I know.
And they heard you sing and they're like, oh, no. We need to bring her back and have her perform, not be a guest.
So it was her friend's birthday party. And I believe she asked for me because, you're always vetted, by the royal family. And I had no skeletons in my closet.
They did the background check and you checked off.
Yeah. And so they asked me to come and sing. And I did. And it was a very small group of people. Maybe there were 27 people, if I recall, around a long table, just on either side. And she was just, I could have reached out and, touched her. And I sang just a couple of songs a cappella, which is my thing,
that is not easy to do.
I love it.
Well, maybe it's easy for you, I should say. It's your.
Yeah. And so, yes. And I have to say she was incredibly human. Just amazing. Well, I've got to say, definitely a fan. Definitely.
I love that. Did she say anything specific? Do you remember her words?
Well, she when she saw me, when I was standing at the end of the table, and she saw me, and she nudged Philip, and she goes, or whoever was next to her. I can't remember whether he was opposite her or next to her, and she nudged whoever was next to her and said, I know her. Yeah.
Oh, and I just thought, she was like a little kid. I know her.
Yes, because I had performed before. And
right.
And she's very human, very real, doesn't forget anything. And when I sang, I sort of personalized it was a gospel song, and I sang, "He's got the whole world in his hands." And I personalized it, and I said, "He's got you, Her Majesty, in his hand. He's got, that." And she teared up. She teared up.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
I thought, okay, royalty, we're all human. We're all women. We all feel. We all want to be accepted. We all want to be loved. We give birth in the same way. Just as God isn't a respecter of persons, there is no difference between me and the guy who comes and clears the street every day. It's just, I don't know. It's just, yeah.
No, that's beautifully said. We're all human beings on this earth, finding our way and so on.
Yeah. We just want to be seen,
Yes. Seen and heard. And speaking of that, as a singer who travels all over, how do you find balance? Like your mental health, mental well-being, physical well-being, and traveling and performing and being out there? Because there's balance that has to happen to be successful in that field. How do you do that?
That I have had to learn that. I've had to learn to accept when I am tired, to be real, to be honest with myself and say, "Gina, you're pooped." And then I take time out for myself. I do. Because I think that as women, sometimes I think I used to take pride in the fact that I was so strong and I was a bit of a superwoman. I was like, yeah, I can do it all. Yeah, I'm not tired. No, I don't suffer from jet lag. No, I'm sorry, but sometimes your body is screaming at you and saying to you, "Okay, girl, it's time to just take a break. Take a break." And then I try to make sure, particularly because I go on a lot of long flights. So whether it's going to Shanghai or going to Singapore or going to Malaysia in November or going to Kazakhstan or Azerbaijan or whatever from London, it takes its toll on you. And so I make sure I hydrate. I really do. I drink a lot.
And you're a big Pilates person. Don't you do Pilates and your Pilates instructor?
Love Pilates. I used to have a TV show, talk show, Pilates exercise program, morning program about.
Where was this show? Was this in Ghana or?
Yeah,
in Ghana.
Yeah. When
were you doing Pilates? It was an exercise show in Ghana, so people could do Pilates with you.
With me.
I love that.
Yeah. I wanted to show that a mother of three with a busy lifestyle and what you can still find time for yourself. And I used to call it 15 minutes, just 15 minutes of dynamic core Pilates. Strengthen your core with Gina West.
Strengthen your core with Gina West. I need that DVD or video.
Actually, I do have one.
Oh, that would be amazing. That's brilliant. Wonderful. That's wonderful. And I have another question that's, because this is something I've been interested in. I speak to a lot of different leaders and CEOs of companies and executives. And I think about leadership, and you're from a family of leaders, from the royalty in your family, from your father being a diplomat, from you being a leader.
Yeah.
What do you think makes a good leader?
There are several things. And I think empathy. So being able to to put yourself in the other person's shoes and walk around in them for a little, because then that will tell you where it pinches and how to guide them, how to help them achieve the best. I think it's just empathy for sure. I think also serving, just having a heart of servitude, just knowing that you need to. That you are no better, really, that everybody has a role. Just like the body has different parts and each part has its function, one part is not more important than the other. Yeah? So if, I can have the head and I I went to the LSE, I'm so bright, I'm so whatever, but if I don't have the neck to hold it up.
What difference does it make?
Hello. And so it's just about just understanding that it's more of being a team, where everybody's got their role to play. My cleaner, I need her. I need her to do her job. And I need to empower her to do her job and do her job well. I need, so when I had when we were living in Ghana and with the production company, the crew, that I needed them to do, I need the editors to be happy and content. I just need everybody to be able to.
All the parts have to be there. If you don't have the editor, then you can't do your job.
Yeah.
And if they don't have you they can't do their job.
And a true leader inspires and is able to delegate and empower. That's a true leader.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. It's something I want to actually ask all the leaders on the call just to share. Because when I speak to executives, I'd like to share, well, this is what people globally are saying is important. So how can we, as leaders around the world, take on empowering each other and lifting each other to our highest that we can be, Yeah.
You know what? It's so funny because I heard a story, and I won't give the details necessarily, but generally it was about this manager who was so caught up and so frightened to empower her subordinates because she was scared that they would take over her position, that they would push her out.
Wow.
Yes. And it happens. It happens. In the corporate world, it happens. Where, but a true leader actually empowers and trains and schools the person that they're leading, they're mentoring, so that person becomes better than you. That's a good leader.
Of course it is. And what I've learned, I've taken leadership classes, and one of the things that I was taught is you do empower others to take over your job. Absolutely. So you can actually go to the next part of your life.
There you go.
And then the next and the next. And you're making sure you bring people along on the journey. I think sometimes we feel so much as individuals that it's all about us, and it's how do we empower each other to be our best selves.
You know what? It's funny because I have this expression, and I'm full of all these inspirations. And my whole thing is about encouraging people and inspiring people to be their best. And I've said to people several times, particularly people who are younger, just remember your success is not dependent on anybody else's failure. Yeah. That's a limited mindset. Yeah. Because if you think, oh my goodness, if you see everybody as competition and you're like, oh my God, she's got to fail so that I can succeed. No, I've got to try. No, we've each got our race to run. We've each got a unique path. I'm telling you, there is enough on God's earth for everyone. And it's about understanding that, realizing that, it's a truth. And once you get that, boom, the world is your oyster.
I love that.
Anything.
No, it's so true. That's so true.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that you want to share? Because I have another question for you. Because I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
But so think about that. But I have a question for you. What would you tell little Gina as the adult that you are now, with the wisdom that you have now? And I say that also in the mindset of what would you tell young people that might be listening to inspire them to take on their dreams? And maybe they're dealing with challenges. The world is going through a lot right now, right? So what are some words of wisdom from you that you would give to others?
That's really a great question. And I undoubtedly would say to young people or to your young Gina, just do it. Go for it. Don't be frightened. Don't be frightened. Don't worry about what anybody else is thinking. Don't. Be true to yourself. Like literally, if you have this thing inside of you, it is your duty to go to do it. I'm telling you, because otherwise, that's how people grow up, grow old, and have regrets, because they don't follow that thing. I believe every human being has been put on this earth for a purpose, for a unique purpose. Everybody, and everybody's purpose is different, actually, Sarah. My purpose is different from yours. And so that's why I just absolutely fell in love with you when I met you, because I was like, here is somebody who doesn't feel threatened. She can celebrate another person's success because she's standing in her own. And it's very rare to meet people like that. And I am like that. I can say that. I am definitely like that. And so when I meet somebody else like that, it is so beautiful and wonderful. And it just gives me hope, because I think the problem is that young people, or people generally, women, whatever, are too busy. Think, what's she doing? Is she successful? Oh my God, she's doing this. Oh my gosh. No, No, my race is different from yours. Run yours. Trust me, because no matter what, the two of us, we will always do that same thing. We will always do it differently.
I love that. And we did have that connection when we met and talked about, I definitely want to leave people with this thought. We talked about being aware of when people are trying to put out our light.
Yes. Oh.
Because some people can't be with how powerful people are. Like, I just want to share this, and I wasn't planning on sharing this.
Oh,
yes, go ahead.
You said, why are you dimming your light? Don't dim your light. She goes, don't let yes. And do you know what? You were absolutely right. Because when you have a lot of power and a lot of, sometimes you do dim your light because you want people around you to feel better about themselves. But you shouldn't.
And sometimes we assume that they don't feel great about themselves, but maybe they're fine and they're confident in themselves and they don't. And we're dimming our light thinking we're making them feel better.
In fact,
but they're fine.
Absolutely. And I'd take it a step further and I'd say, you know what? Assume that they're okay. Assume. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Because you've got to do you and let them do them.
And there's a poem that I cannot remember the poem right now, but there's a line in the poem that says when we let our light shine, it gives, and allow ourselves to be who we are. It gives people permission to be who they are.
And it's true.
Yes. Yes. And I think as women, empowering each other to stand on our own, to support each other, to not be competitive, I think, or put each other down, I think that is so vastly important. And when we be that example, others can be that.
Absolutely. And I have to say it's quite hopeful because there's more and more of that, more and more of sort of women empowering women and support and openly. And I think that's just such a beautiful thing. It's very encouraging to see. Very encouraging.
Yes. And that we as women empower men too, or however people identify, and empower people with who they are, let them know how great they are. I just think that's so important, and we forget sometimes, and I think it's valuable.
Absolutely.
Well, go ahead.
I wanted to talk about, and it's not that I want to talk about it, but as we're speaking now, you know that I was inspired when you were like, oh yeah, I've got this podcast and it's, modern world. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Your podcast.
I've got my podcast, but I'm still recording my episodes and I laughed, but I felt so inspired by you because I thought, okay, you just do it, because that's what I say to young people all the time. Just do it. And sometimes we get so busy, and life is busy. It is busy, but you have to find the time.
And sometimes it's scary. How does one do a podcast? How does it start? And it takes a team. It takes people to help. I mean, you can start with yourself, but if George wasn't.
Yeah, I had a television talk show with a crew and stuff. So, I'm a talk show host. So I know how to do that. But my podcast, I want to do a little bit differently. And so that's what sort of made me hold back for a minute. But actually, you know what? I'm inspired. True talk.
Yay! Well, how lucky are we to have your podcast as soon as it comes out? Do you know when you want to launch it? Do you have a name, or is it still?
Do you know what? And actually, funny you should ask. And I think that this, again, is another principle. It's about setting yourself deadlines. You set yourself a date. So I have to set a launch date. I need to sit with it for a minute, set a launch date, record 10 or so episodes so that we have enough to run off. And
I love that.
I will let you know.
Yeah. Well, if you need a guest, I'd love to be a guest.
Absolutely. But it's imminent. It's imminent. Yeah.
I love that. And I know that you're also starting as a singer. You're also thinking about becoming more of a speaker in life and speaking in the world.
Obviously, as a trained barrister, I went to the LSE, London School of Economics. I studied law. I became a barrister. So I'm used to speaking. And public speaking.
Can you tell me, for those of us who don't have a different academic background, what does it mean to be a barrister? That's not a term that I understand.
Eyelash in my eye. So a barrister is an advocate. So in France, they would say an avocat. So it's the one who goes to to court. So it's a litigator, I suppose.
Oh, yes. Okay, a litigator. I understand.
Yeah. Whereas a solicitor is the one who pushes the pen around, does all the paperwork. And
I see.
be a corporate lawyer in the office, etc. Yeah.
Wonderful. So you're used to speaking in front of large groups very easily.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And funny enough, so it's no surprise that I then went into the world of entertainment media. It's no surprise because I think all barristers are actors, are performers, actually, are performers.
You have to be.
Yeah.
You have to have the jury on your side and so on. So you have to perform. It's a performance.
Yeah. And actually, when you're at university, they always ask you have to choose. So I remember at the LSE when they said, you need to choose. Do you want to be a solicitor? Or do you want to be a barrister? I was like, oh, barrister for sure. 100%. I want to be on stage. I want to be on stage. Yeah.
I love it. So what's to close out here, what's your final, what's your dream for yourself? What is there a certain goal you want to reach, or is there a certain dream that you still want to hit?
Oh gosh, I think it's never ending. I think it's always ongoing, because the minute we stop wanting to grow in that sense, or we stop looking for the next chapter in our lives, I think we might as well be dead, So no, there's always something new. I mean, I've written a novel. I'm just in the throes of doing the final edits. I would love to see it on the big screen. I'd love, obviously, yes, there's always something.
We never stop learning. We never stop growing. That's one of the things my dad always said to me, never stop learning and growing. Don't get bored. There's too much there's too much excitement in the world, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's too much to do. And my whole thing, if you said, Gina, what's your USP? What's the thing that does it for you? It's inspiring people. It's inspiring others to be their best selves.
I love that.
I do it with
that's
my music.
Definitely.
Yeah, I do it with my music. I do it, you'll see when you read the novel, the book. I do it with my, the podcast.
You do it with your amazing family and your children. They adore you. I had the opportunity to meet one of your sons who's oh my gosh, he's just a nugget of love. He's so kind.
Dude, oh my goodness. And by the way, I started watching a bit of your interview with the professor because of Gabriele, of course, my son. And I was like, yes! And
And one of the things that the professor said when I said words of advice, he said, don't ever stop.
Yes.
Keep going.
There you go.
I think that was a huge message. It was a message to me, because there are times that I'm like, maybe I just shouldn't do this anymore. And it's like, no. He got great, and you and most people become great at whatever they do because they don't stop, even when it gets hard. Yeah. And the hard moments are actually the moments that make you better. Yeah. And that's what he talked about. And that's who you are.
Plus, you would just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. Oh my gosh. Princess Gina, thank you for being with us.
It was so amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your gifts and your light with the world. And thank you for sharing with us to remind us to never dim our lights so we can keep shining too.
I'll tell you one more thing. So you said, what, about never giving up. Do you know that I started, and this is just by way of an example for people. Hope it inspires someone out there.
I love it.
Sometimes you don't see yourself the way others do. And the way you project yourself is very powerful. I'm telling you. And something shifted for me very recently as last year, where I started seeing Gina. I said, Gina, you need to be true to yourself. So who are you? And I actually then put a post on Instagram about being a princess because nobody knew. I didn't talk about it. I just never spoke about it. I was like, no, you need to be true to yourself, to thine own self, be true. And then I had the boldness when I had a performance in Venice, and fellow brand ambassadors were there for Bulgari, the jeweler.
Oh, I had that written down to talk to you about because you're a Bulgari ambassador with the beautiful jewelry. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for reminding me. Yes.
Yeah. Going to Shanghai was wearing these amazing things. And I'll share some images, etc., with you if you need them to just.
Yeah, you can share some jewelry too, whatever's easiest.
Yes. So, yes, but what shifted for me, Sarah, I don't know whether I should be saying this or not, but it doesn't matter. It's the truth. I did a performance and something inside of me, because I do so many of these things, they can become very sort of, not repetitive, but you know what you're doing, right? you know what you're doing. So you just go there and you nail it. You always nail it. So it's like always amazing. So you can take yourself for granted a little bit. But I thought, no, I'm going to reinvent myself. And I went on stage like wow. And something shifted. And the incredible outpouring of love and open doors and opportunities. Incredible. Something shifted for me. And that has been the turnaround for me in the last, 14, 15 months. Complete turnaround
Was this in Shanghai?
No, I did Shanghai last year as well. I'm talking about, they asked me back again this year. But it's and then I went, and that's how I got the brand ambassadorship. I went up to, this is how I got it.
Oh, I love this story. Please. Yes.
Yeah. Because
you got the brand ambassadorship by.
Yeah, because I was bold enough to stop believing in myself again. I tell you, this is for a woman out there, because sometimes we doubt ourselves and we think, oh, I'm past it, or I don't know what, or I'm not, I don't know. I'm not Anne Hathaway, or I'm not whatever, whoever else is. But no, come on. You've got to stand in your truth and know that there is something unique about you. There's something special about you that nobody else.
Did you say something to them? Did they? How did that happen?
I went up to the powers that be, and I said, "You need an African brand ambassador. You don't have one."
I just have to pause you because I want to make sure people heard that. You went up to the powers that be and said, you just stood for yourself. You just did this amazing performance and you said you need an African brand ambassador for Bulgari. You need this to be presented.
Absolutely.
And what'd they say?
And they said, send us a proposal. That was it. That was it.
This is what going after what you want.
This is it. So that's the message. I share this purely to say, just go for it. You have nothing to lose, but truly nothing to lose.
I love that. And I love how you just stood for what you wanted. We have nothing to lose. But if we don't, then we have regrets, and that's how we lost. So might as well just jump in. It may work, it may not, but at least you tried.
Absolutely.
And it did work. Very often it will.
Yes, very often it will.
I love that. What a powerful note to end on. Go after those. Thank you. Thank you for your time. I love it. You're amazing. Mwah.